Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time for some running backs. If you missed last week's episode, Will and I went through our top 10 quarterbacks for the upcoming year. Welcome back. This week, we are going to do some top 10 running backs. And, Will, how we doing?
I'm doing great. It's not nice. Probably going back-to-back weeks without a Clemson player in the top 10 quarterbacks and the top 10 running backs. But you know what? We're here, and we get to talk college football, and I get to talk to you about it unbiasedly because I don't have any Clemson people clouding my brain. Now, if you talk to me 15 minutes after the show, I could probably convince you or try to convince you that a Clemson player will end up in the top 10 list, that we don't have them there. So just stick around after the show. That'll be the extra credits.
Yeah, the post-show credits are when you get to hear Will justify. I don't even know who your running back is this year, if I'm going to be honest.
Gideon Davidson and Chris Johnson Jr., not to be confused with Chris Johnson, the running back for the Tennessee Titans, CK212, or no, CJ2K. Not to be confused.
Did Gideon Davidson even play much last year?
He didn't play enough, but that was because of the terrorist that was Garrett Riley. Garrett Riley, ISIS again, Al-Qaeda, and
double ISIS.
Yeah, double ISIS. But Garrett Riley's still number one. ISIS would at least run the ball.
Do you know Garrett Riley is now the quarterback coach at Missouri?
So sorry, Missouri. No, actually, he'll probably be a really good quarterback coach for them. But ISIS would have at least run the ball. I know Al-Qaeda would have ran the ball because Al-Qaeda is old school. I mean, they don't even wear combat boots. So you think that do you think a head coach or a offensive coordinator coming out of Al-Qaeda is not going to run the ball 75%?
Who's your offensive coordinator this year?
Chad Morris. Ever heard of him? Not a part of Al-Qaeda.
I think I should bring back Jeff Scott.
What's that?
I think you should bring back Jeff Scott.
That's okay. We got a wide receiver coach. He's enjoying retirement.
Jeff Scott is 45 years old and is retired.
And he's selling real estate in Clemson, living his best life.
Is that actually what he's doing?
Mm-hmm. He's got a podcast. He's selling real estate. Dude's just living his best life.
Pretty
sure he got bought out at South Florida.
Well, he only won 4 games in 3 years.
I see you're looking at it the wrong way. He won 4 games He won 4 games. That was tough.
He won 1 conference game.
He built the foundation for Alex Golesh. If it weren't for Jeff Scott, Alex Golesh would not be at Auburn, Alabama right now.
Do you want a fun fact?
I want a fun fact.
Jeff Scott won 1 conference game in his tenure.
That's awesome.
Who'd he beat?
It was a good game, wasn't it? Like a really good team.
Hashtag Temple Talk.
Hashtag Temple Talk. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
It was Temple when they went 3-9 and USF went 2-10. They actually whooped Temple. They won 34-14. But other than that, they lost every game in basically blowout fashion.
What is more consistent? Knowing that your offense is going to click with a good running game or a Tiger Woods meme right now?
Oh, Tiger Woods memes don't miss right now. They are not missing. You post a Tiger Woods meme, you're getting an easy 1,000 likes.
Yeah. You know what? I'll post one right now, and we'll see what it does. So I'm posting Tiger Woods in the cop car with the blanket over his head, holding his hands up like this. And I'm going to say, me manifesting Clemson to return to glory in 2026. And we'll see how many likes he gets.
I saw that one with the blanket, and it said somebody, with their brand new baby, and then sends a photo of that one. So the baby swaddled. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Also, right. Number 2 would be the Easter memes with Kurt Signetti and Danny Hurley. Any of the Easter videos that have been coming out with Eddie, with Danny Hurley rubbing his forehead, on the referee, or Kirk Spaghetti doing this and it's saying the Romans looking into the tomb, like that. Those hit. I don't care if 1,000 people posted the same exact thing. I liked all of them. They were hilarious.
Wait, before we move on, I want to talk about something that is missing 100% of the time. Dan Orlovsky talking about Ty Simpson. I don't know what agenda he is pushing right now, but Dan Orlovsky must have Ty Simpson going number one on call sheet, because like he does not like Fernando Mendoza and thinks Ty Simpson's the future of everything.
I think his love for Ty Simpson is making him try to push hate for Fernando Mendoza. I think Ty Simpson could be a good quarterback in the NFL.
I saw him talk about Fernando Mendoza's snaps under center, and will he struggle? And Ty Simpson had 38 snaps under center this year.
That was like, what are we doing?
What big games has Fernando Mendoza played in? I don't know. The one he beat Ty Simpson in?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The last game of the
season?
They played
head-to-head. Yeah. The national championship game. I don't know. Beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. Beating Oregon by like 70 points. I don't know. Pretty good games if you ask me.
Yeah, I think he's played in some big games. Penn State, whether how good you view Penn State, still a big time game in Happy Valley.
Big time game. Hey, Fernando Mendoza, he beat Oregon on the road at Oregon, and then beat him by like 70
after throwing a pick six to get him back in the game.
Oh, the first time. Yes.
Yeah, the first time.
Second time, I was like, that game was over 30.
Hey, we're talking about we're talking about the pretty boys. We need to be talking about the
hard nosed.
So, like, if quarterbacks are white collar most of the time, Fernando Mendoza is blue collar. Running backs,
some blue collar guys, but yeah, they are mainly white collar. They're a little prissy.
Yeah, running backs are blue collar, but they're your foreman. They're like your project manager. They're the guys who are on the shop floor. They're out there getting dirty too, but they're more managers than they are workers, right? Your offensive linemen are your true blue collar guys. Running backs and tight ends depends. If you're just a receiving threat at running back, you're white collar. See it, buddy. But most running backs are blue collar. I want to talk about some blue collar guys.
All right, let's start talking about some blue collar. We'll start at the number one. Who do you have as your number one running back heading into the 2026 season?
I've got Kewan Lacy out of Ole Miss.
Okay.
Fantastic running back last year. Now, could we see a change in how they play call with Lane Kiffin and I can't on his name again, leaving Ole Miss? Maybe, but he was third in the country at Ole Miss, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. He had 29 catches, so he was serviceable in the passing game. They might use him more in that in this new offense. But you saw in the playoffs that they still pushed Kewan Lacy having the football. So I think he will still be the number one football. No spoilers. I have Ahmad Hardy number two. And the reason I have Kewan Lacy above Ahmad Hardy is Kewan Lacy is a better receiving threat. I think Ahmad Hardy had like 3 catches last year, maybe 2, whereas Kewan Lacy had 29. So like they're two totally different backs when it comes to how they're used in the offense in their entirety. So Kewan Lacy number one. And you can put to bed that I hate Ole Miss. You hate Ole Miss, but I don't hate them so much that I can't speak the truth.
So I have Ahmad Hardy number one, and spoiler, I have Kewan Lacy number 2. Ahmad Hardy, though, I mean, you talk about it, 2 straight years. He came from a group of 5 team over to Missouri, comes from ULM, has 1,300 yards, goes Missouri, does even better with 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is just an absolute beast. He is the reason Missouri was in a position where they were, because absolutely. They had quarterback issues. Defense was strong, but the running game was a key for Missouri this past year.
Who's the quarterback going to be for Missouri this year?
So I don't remember if they brought in a transfer or not, but Zollers was
that's
the guy.
His name. Thank you.
I don't know if Missouri brought in a transfer or not, but Prabula did leave. Austin Simmons was named the starting quarterback, actually. Oh. So they already announced that Simmons will be the starting quarterback for them this year, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
So because we don't know a ton about Austin Simmons. I mean, we knew a little bit. We got to see him for a second, but then obviously Trinidad Chambliss took over. But this is the offense is going to run through Ahmad Hardy. You've got a fantastic running back. Hardy's going to get the ball. Hardy's going to have another 1,600 yards. He's been consistent. He was in the running for Heisman at one point this year. I think you see his name floated throughout the Heisman as well again this year. But to me, yeah, I have Ahmad Hardy number 2, and I have Kewan Lacy, or I have Ahmad Hardy 1 and Kewan Lacy 2.
And
you talked about it.
I want to add this too. Sorry, Jake. Ahmad Hardy, you already said he had 16 touchdowns. Kewan Lacy had 24. So
did you know Ahmad Hardy had almost 1,200 yards after contact?
That's insane.
So 400 of his yards came, before contact, and he got 1,200 after contact.
And let me put some respect on Ahmad Hardy's game. I said he had 2 catches. He had 6. My bad.
Yeah, you give him his respect. Give him his respect.
My bad.
Kewan Lacy, like you said, 24 touchdowns. Doak Walker set a bunch of records. First team All SEC. 307 attempts, though. That is the one thing. I mean, he had a bunch more attempts than Kewan Lacy. Kewan Lacy, I believe, had like 260 something.
256.
Exactly. So the one thing you got to remember with some of these, like Ole Miss played a couple extra games, like when you talk about playing playoff games and everything.
And Ahmad Hardy still had more yards than him.
Yes. Yeah. And, Kewan Lacy, he did not play, or I don't know if he actually played in their bowl game or not. It looks like he
Ahmad
did
Hardy,
not.
you mean? He only played 13 games last year. But no, yeah, he played in the bowl game.
Oh, there it is. For some reason on ESPN, it listed below instead of above. So he only had 89 yards in the playoff or in the bowl game. Meanwhile, Kewan Lacy, I mean, he had 103 yards against Miami, another 98 against Georgia. I mean, those are 2.
Yeah, really good. And the Georgia game, they really held him in check till the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And that's when they started pushing the ball very well. So, yeah, number 1 and number 2, I would never argue with you for having Ahmad Hardy above Kewan Lacy. I think they're interchangeable. Like I said, I had Ahmad Hardy number 2. And you know what? If we talk long enough, I could probably flop that.
Yeah, both of them I think is very justifiable. It's almost like 1A and 1B with these 2 guys.
Yeah. They're very similar. I think where Kewan Lacy is more versatile in the passing game, Ahmad Hardy's more the true old school traditional running back. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you get in the difference in those 2. So you're comparing apples to oranges in their running styles, and both of them are highly effective. It just depends on what kind of offense you want to run.
Number 3, who you got here?
I got Mark Fletcher out of Miami.
I do as well.
So we're pretty much in lockstep, and I think again, 1, 2, and 3. I think you could flop around these a little bit. I don't think Mark Fletcher could be number 1 though.
I agree with that. Mark Fletcher had an incredible run in the playoffs there. But if you go back and look at Mark Fletcher throughout the year, there's some consistency issues that really kind of strike. Obviously, playoff, he goes nuts, has a good game start against, Texas A&M, goes for 100 and something yards. Ohio State has another 90, Ole Miss, another 133, Indiana, another 112. I was actually kind of surprised Mark Fletcher came back to college because usually after a run like this, guys are like, hey, I'm going to go pro. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Him coming back is obviously huge for Miami. But, I mean, you talk about some of these games, 12 carries, 40 yards against Florida State. 6 carries, 19 yards against Virginia Tech. 10 carries, 30 yards against Pitt. Like, you look at some of these games, they don't stand out. Like, until he got to the end of the season, until he got to the playoffs, he was really having a relatively average year at best.
Yeah, and he blew up in the playoffs. And I'll add this, too. Where Ahmad Hardy is consistent, Mark Fletcher is not. Where Kewan Lacy where Mark Fletcher doesn't have explosiveness, Kewan Lacy does. So that's why those 2, I think, are a tier above a Mark Fletcher. However, if you go to war with Mark Fletcher, you're going to be pleased. He's going to be a guy who's going to give you everything he's got. And you saw that in the playoffs, and you saw it over and over and over again, like you were referencing. I think it was the Ohio State game, or the Texas A&M game, excuse me. If it weren't for Mark Fletcher, they don't win that game, period. Because Mark Fletcher puts them in field goal position just about every time they actually gave him the football. So that was one of those wild situations. I believe he was averaging 9 yards a carry in that game, and they just would not give him the football. It was mind-boggling to me.
And some of these games for Mark Fletcher's smaller carries, it wasn't like other guys were going off. Like Louisville is a good example. Mark Fletcher had 8 carries for 18 yards. They ran the ball 24 times for 63 yards. So nobody could get going. Not Jordan Lyle, not Sharmar Brown, not Pringle. Like nobody was getting going. Mark Fletcher was leading rusher at 18 yards. You go and you look at some of these other games against Virginia Tech. They were 30 carries for 83 yards. Yeah. Pringle had 49 yards. Fletcher had 19. Tony had 16. Like, Miami's offensive line didn't really hit the stride until the end of the year, which I think was a huge thing with this. And it'll be important for Mark Fletcher this year. Obviously, he kind of made it his own and was just breaking tackles and finding the right holes. So it took him a little bit of time. But I think
it wasn't the offensive line. I'd argue it was the play calling.
I think it's a little bit of both.
I think, was it Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator last year?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's still the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, so I would say Shannon Dawson really found his groove at the end of the year with that Miami roster, specifically in the playoffs. Like, he really figured it out. I think the Texas A&M game opened his eyes a lot because I don't think that roster should have been in the national championship last year. I really don't.
No, that was not a national championship roster. I mean, usually you need a strong quarterback presence, and it's maybe this is just the evolution of the game where you need more veteran quarterback presence. When you start looking at the last couple of years, when you talk about, you got Riley Leonard and Will Howard, both guys that are transfers on their final year. You've got Fernando Mendoza and Carson Beck. Mendoza had another year, but transfer, multiple year starter, Beck, multiple year starter, transfer. Like, now it's more just becoming veteran starters that know how to handle the pressure rather than who is the young guy that's able to just take over and going to make mistakes.
Who you got at 4, Jake?
At 4, I have Jaden Ball at 4, actually.
I like that.
So I have Jaden Ball. I have Jaden Ball. Yep. He was one of the only things going right for Florida last year.
Yeah.
And he still had almost 1,200 yards, average over 5 yards per carry. I mean, he could be in for a really strong year. I mean, that you got to think that Florida team the last couple of years, I mean, Billy Napier was a dead man walking. It was more of a when is he going to get fired rather than if he's going to get fired. I mean, they were putting odds out 2 years ago who was going to be his replacement before he was even going to get fired. Jaden Ball still comes in there, rushes for 1,200 yards, has some great games for Florida this past year. And I'm just excited to see what's going to happen at Florida moving forward.
Yeah, and I agree with you in that, in the sense of I think Jaden Ball is going to be the biggest beneficiary to Aaron Philo and Buster Faulkner being the offensive coordinator, Aaron Philo being the quarterback and Buster Faulkner being the offensive coordinator. And now that we just said his name, why is my brain blanking? You can tell we're in April. What's the head coach's name now?
John Sumrall.
John Sumrall, thank you. I think you see a culture shift. You're going to see play calling shift. You're going to see an offensive efficiency shift that should play perfectly into Jaden Ball's hands. So I can't wait to see what he does in this new offense.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. And Ball, I mean, there was a little bit of inconsistency for sure, but you also got to remember, I mean, sometimes they were just getting blown out. Like, you look at the Kentucky game, he has 17 carries, 64 yards. They lost 38-7. You're not going to be running the ball. When you get down early like that, you're not going to be running the ball. In games that they won, like Texas, 27 carries, 107 yards, touchdown. Mississippi State, 23 carries, 150 and a touchdown. Again, Florida State, he had his breakout game, 38 carries, 266, 2 touchdowns. In games they won, he had over 100 yards. In games they lost, he had less than 100 yards.
Yeah.
All right, who you got at 4?
I got Aneyas Williams. And statistically, he shouldn't be there, right? He only had 224 yards last year. He was 406 in the country in rushing yards. But, Jake, I think all of us could name the 2 running backs that were in front of him, and Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. So his touches were limited.
You're not going to get a ton of touches when you got those guys in front of you.
Right. And then you watch a guy like Aneyas Williams play, and you're like, holy cow, how do they keep that guy off the field? How do they keep that guy in that locker room? In the transfer portal era with those 2 guys in front of them, they somehow figured out how to do it. Aneyas Williams, again, had 24 touches, averaged 9.3 yards per clip last year, and had 5 touchdowns. Jake, he was averaging a touchdown every 5 carries, essentially. That is unbelievable. So he's an extremely talented running back. He's at Notre Dame, where the scheme is going to be fitted towards running the football. They traditionally have a good offensive line. So I am excited to see what Aneyas Williams does. I think he's one of these running backs that's going to have a huge year this year. I wouldn't be shocked if he's top 5 in the country in rushing yards. naturally, as I have him as my number 4 running back coming into the year.
Yeah, a Notre Dame running back, it's hard to pick against that right now.
Right.
Number 5, where are we at for you?
Number 5, I have Cam Cook. So last year, Cam Cook was at Jacksonville State, led the country in rushing yards. He goes over to Power 4. He's at West Virginia now. Now, had he gone to a Texas, had he gone to a Ohio State, had he gone to a Notre Dame, a Miami, I might have had him higher. I'm worried about the talent level that's going to be supporting him alongside the talent level he's going to be going up against. Don't get it twisted. This cat is an extremely talented running back. So they ran him almost 300 times last year, averaged 5.5 yards per carry, 5.6 to be exact, had 1,659 yards last year, 30 catches, 286 yards. So he's really effective in the passing game as well. So again, an all-around running back, 16 touchdowns on the ground. Just the guy. If you watched any of the Gamecocks, if you didn't know, Jacksonville State, and also fun fact, Jacksonville State is in Alabama. So the Gamecock product was able to just consistently beat up on people, and he did that with a mix of speed, vision, and then being able to catch the ball. And if you can do that on an offense, like it really opens up the running game, because just because the running back's out there, or just because a certain personnel is out there, you can't predict what they're going to do. So I think Cam Cook is nestled at number 5, and he's got big boomer bust potential going over to West Virginia. Yeah,
Cam Cook's a guy that I'll talk about here in a little bit, but I agree on the boom or bust portion. We'll talk about that. So 5, I have LJ Martin at BYU.
Like
he has just been steady. Has been steady for BYU. And so far, I mean, he's been their leading rusher for 3 straight years. Senior, 539 career touches. He was first team All Big 12. I mean, they're going to rely on him one more time at BYU. He's just been a steady, consistent. I mean, it's 1,300 yards last year. It's hard to imagine a situation where he is not at least as successful last year, because we know what Bear Bachmeier is. Bear Bachmeier, I don't think he's going to take a massive step forward in his arm talent. I think he's still going to be a run-first quarterback.
That is going to be a run-first offense. I agree with you 100%.
And I think LJ Martin is still going to get a lot of touches.
Yep. He had 236 of them last year with Bear Bachmeier as the quarterback. So, yeah, they're going to prioritize getting him back. I don't have him as high as you, but he is in my top 10. Spoiler alert.
All right. Number 6.
Number 6, I have Isaac Brown. So Isaac Brown missed a lot of games last year. He missed 3 and played injured in some games. So he wasn't as effective as he was the year prior as a freshman. But his sophomore year, Jake, he averaged 8.8 yards per carry. That's through injuries. That's through whatever. And when Isaac Brown was in the football field, that was a completely different Louisville offense. A completely different Louisville offense. I forget his backup. There was 2 there's actually 3 really good running backs in that room over there at Louisville. But Isaac Brown was the war daddy. And if he can stay healthy this year, again, he's another one, boom or bust. If he can stay healthy, he can be a top 3 running back in the country in terms of yards and statistics. So I'm extremely excited to see what a healthy Isaac Brown can do this year for the Cardinals in the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Brown, the story for him is health. Yeah. What are we going to get out of him? Clearly, he has been phenomenal when he's played. He's been a game breaker, but how much are we going to get out of Isaac Brown this year? Because he plays all 12 games next year. You could convince me he leads the nation in rushing yards.
Yeah.
I could 100% be convinced. I could also be convinced that he only plays 6 games next year.
Yeah, I don't want to be convinced of that.
No.
Well, unless he misses the Colts game, that's okay.
You know, real fans want to beat the team at their best.
No, I'm good. Kewan Brown was his backup last year, who was also extremely good. Kewan Brown's good.
So,
that's okay. We beat them with Kewan Brown last year.
So
hey, pop quiz for you. Pop quiz for you before you go to number 6. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who's Louisville starting quarterback next year?
Should be Lincoln Keenholz.
Okay. You're on your 1s and 2s today. I'm not. I need to step it up.
I mean, you asked me where the transfer from Ohio State went, which
that's on me. Hand up.
If there was a Clemson backup quarterback to transfer somewhere, you'd probably know where he went.
I would 100% know. Yep.
So number 6, I got Caleb Hawkins, Oklahoma State, transfer from North Texas. Follows his head coach, obviously, goes to Oklahoma State. Do you know that he had 25 rushing touchdowns as a true freshman?
Good gracious, I did not know that. That's insane.
He had 25 rushing touchdowns. Now, granted, I will say this is a little bit of a caveat. Between Navy, UAB, Rice, and Temple, he had 16 touchdowns. And that's a 4-game stretch. In November, he had 16 touchdowns. Entering November, he had 7. And then he had 2 additional in the bowl game.
Yeah.
So
plus 4 through the air. So he had 29 total.
I mean, he averaged he had 3 games where he had over 185 yards. And then the other one, he had 97
that's not okay.
in November.
That's just not okay.
November, he went absolutely bonkers. Just went absolutely nuts. But I think there'll be a little bit difference. Obviously, we talked about Oklahoma State last week. We talked about the quarterback situation there. But I think the transition for the running back, I think there will be a little bit easier, similar, same system, same run blocking scheme. It'll be a little bit of an easier transition for him. I don't think he's going to go for 25 touchdowns. He might not even go for 1,400 yards. But I think it's safe to say that Caleb Hawkins is going to be a 1,000-yard back at Oklahoma State.
He's one I consider to put in there as well. Last week I had Drew Mestemaker in my top 10, who will be the Cowboys quarterback, and also coming from North Texas. Next year is the Oklahoma State Mean Green, or the North, or you can call them the North Texas Cowboys, because it's essentially the North Texas roster and coaching staff coming over to coach at Oklahoma State. So I'm curious to see what they change and how this transition affects Caleb Hawkins. And I feel like it's going to affect him more than it affected Drew Mestemaker. And I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, it's always hard to know when guys are going from G5 to Power 4 what is going to happen. All right, heading to number 7.
I've got DeSean Bishop out of Tennessee. And he's one that kind of floated under the radar for a lot of people, but he averaged essentially 6 yards per carry last year in the SEC and had 16 touchdowns. 16 touchdowns in the SEC, averaging 6 yards a carry, is very, very difficult. And DeSean Bishop was able to do that. And at the beginning of the year, I don't think he was the number 1 guy. He earned his way to becoming the workhorse back for that Tennessee Volunteer team last year. And the team went as he went. If he didn't have a good game, that offense was going to struggle a little bit. But you go back and you look down the stretch, and now I'm trying to remember who they played down the stretch where he really had a big game. Was it Alabama? It might have been Alabama. Did they end up winning that game? No, they lost that game. I can't remember what game it was down the stretch, but DeSean Bishop, if it weren't for him, they're not even close to competing in that game. And he's a decent receiving threat. Last year he had 15 catches, 135 yards. Not too shabby. Essentially, every time he's catching the ball, it's the first down. And what that tells me is that he's probably being targeted down the field. He's probably not just a screen game guy. He's probably being targeted down the field. So I think DeSean Bishop is going to be a household name for SEC fans and maybe even college football fans next year.
Yeah, Bishop was a guy I had on my honorable mentions, kind of on my, first out, if we're talking March Madness. Yep. He was on the bubble. He didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, that was my Caleb Hawkins. We both have bubble guys.
Bishop, I mean, phenomenal. Could easily end up as a top 10 running back. Would not be shocked by that at all.
Yeah.
Number 7, I have Antoine Raymond out of Rutgers, actually. So you need to hear me out on this one. So Antoine Raymond.
I do not need to hear you out. I'm right there with you, buddy. It's going to be. He's coming up soon on mine too.
Antoine Raymond at Rutgers, of all places, averaged 5.1 yards per carry, had over 1,200 yards at Rutgers last year. 161 yards against Minnesota, 116 against Purdue, 240 against Maryland, 189 against Penn State last year. I mean, the guy was one of Rutgers' only bright spots last year. Was one of the main scoring threats, 13 touchdowns, scored in almost every game last year. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. Also had 228 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. So he was a dynamic dual, out of the backfield, catching the ball or running the ball. Antoine Raymond is a guy that people didn't talk about. I don't think people realized was as good as he was. And as a sophomore, I mean, he's going to have a big season as heading in as a junior.
Jake, The first time Schiano was at Rutgers, you know who his running back was?
Ray Rice.
Ray Rice. Before he ruined his entire reputation, making some bad choices. Phenomenal running back. Was a Heisman finalist out of Rutgers. Okay? Now, Schiano comes back to Rutgers, so you say, oh, it's shocking he's at Rutgers. Isaiah Pacheco, pretty good running back over for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. That's a Schiano guy. Kyle Manon guy 2 years ago. Phenomenal running back. I forget where he went. I think he went to the Bears and ended up having a really good year this year. And he's top 3 all-time in Rutgers rushing history. And now you have Antoine Raymond, who's stepping into the fray. Was a Doak Walker semifinalist last year. Phenomenal running back. Don't sleep on Schiano coached Rutgers running backs because they're freaking good for some reason.
Schiano running backs, I mean, they find a way to just make impacts. I don't know if it's his style of play. I don't know if I don't know, but Schiano running backs are just fantastic.
And don't forget Brian Leonard, by the way, a fullback who ended up playing in the NFL a little bit too, I believe.
Fantastic running back. All right, you're number 8.
My number 8, I think, is Jaden Ball. I went off the cuff for a second. Yeah, Jaden Ball. We've kind of already talked about him, and I gave my spiel. I think the addition of Faulkner and Philo are going to be phenomenal for Jaden Ball. I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off of him, where he's not going to be facing the big boxes like he was last year.
I have Isaac Brown, who we've already talked about at 8. I mean, last year doesn't play a full season. 2 years ago, though, almost 1,200 yards. 7.1 yards per carry and 8.8 yards per carry. I mean, these are video game numbers, legitimately video game numbers. And he is doing this on a week-to-week basis. If he could stay healthy, this is a fantastic running back. This is a guy who has the opportunity to lead the nation in rushing because he is that explosive.
Yep.
I mean, he only played in like 8 games last year, and 5 of them were over 100 yards. And one of them, he only rushed for 1 carry, and he had 18 yards on it.
He got hurt in that game.
Exactly. So it's hard to look at something. It's hard for me to not look at Isaac Brown and go, wow, if he stays healthy, not only is Louisville like a legit ACC contender, but like he is a legit Heisman contender, averaging 8 yards per carry.
Yeah, he's almost 9 yards per carry last year. And I forget what he did his freshman year, but it was somewhere around that range too. So look out for that Louisville backfield. They're fantastic.
All right, number 9.
Antoine Raymond. Already gave my spiel on him. I think he's going to have a great year. And fun fact, and no spoilers, but there might be a Rutgers wide receiver in our top 10 wide receivers list next week or 2 weeks.
There's one worthy of it, for sure worthy of it. All right, my number 9, I have Cam Cook. We talked about it. My biggest concern for Cam Cook, obviously, he goes from leading the nation in rushing yards per game, 3rd-team All-American, to goes from Conference USA to a Big 12 with West Virginia, where West Virginia was not that great last year. It's a little bit different than, Caleb Hawkins going to Oklahoma State, where it's like a full revamp, and you're bringing a fairly talented roster from North Texas, because you bring a ton of the North Texas guys with you to Oklahoma State, to a West Virginia program that, if we're being frank, was not that great last year.
No.
And they just didn't feel like they had it last year. I know it was the first year for Rich Rod, but I mean, you lost to Ohio. You somehow beat Pitt, but then you got blown out in plenty of other games. I mean, you got blown out by UCF, who was not fantastic by any means. Kansas put a whopping on them. Shout out Coach Leipold.
That's right.
You got shut out by Texas Tech to end the year. Like, it was just not a good team. I mean, granted, it was like a rotation at quarterback. They couldn't really figure out their running back rotations. Wide receivers weren't necessarily great. So there's a part of me that's concerned about Cam Cook's ability to move into that West Virginia role. But I also think that now this gives them a dynamic playmaker of a guy that they know can move the chains. We'll see. Cam Cook could always rise, but Cam Cook could definitely fall out of this top 10.
Yes, he could.
Cam Cook was at TCU before Jacksonville State, and he didn't really do anything. Yeah.
Didn't know
Cam
that.
Cook was at Jacksonville State before this. 119 carries for 460 yards at TCU for 3.9 yards per carry. Not really anything impressive. And then goes to Jacksonville State, 1,600 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. Like, was it the talent? Was it the scheme? What was it around it? So I'll be interested to see how that works out. All right, your number 10 running back.
My number 10 is LJ Martin. We talked about him already. I mean, I think it's a very run-friendly offensive scheme. Barry Brockmeyer really helps out his running backs with his ability to run, but also being able to sprinkle in some passing in there. He's not quite good enough to beat you with his arm, but he's certainly not going to lose to you because of his arm either. So I really like what LJ Martin can do. I like his effectiveness. I like that he's 11th in the country in rushing, and everyone knows they're running the football. So fantastic running back out of BYU, and they got their Crumble Cookie sponsored head coach back. So LJ Martin, can't wait to see him play next year.
I'm not a big fan of Crumble Cookies. I'm just gonna say it. Maybe it's that I'm like on a fitness journey right now, and there's way too many calories in a Crumble Cookie.
You're on a fitness journey. Tell me about your fitness journey.
I am down 8 pounds since the end of February.
I love that. You look fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Eating
I've gained those
healthy,
8 pounds.
eating cleaner.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Not eating
Good
Crumble
for you.
Cookie. Yeah. I'm getting ready to hibernate for next year.
Oh, okay. Got to hibernate till football season.
That's right.
See, I cut out beer until the fall.
Do you really?
Well, no, I am right now. I'm trying to. It's not really working out great, but
Yeah. I'm on a beer fast. I've almost made it 24 hours. No, I'm just kidding. I am on I don't drink during the week really, but I'm not.
I have like significantly limited. I drink less beer right now. I'm not 100% staying away from. That's a dumb choice. Why would I stay away from beer completely? It's too delicious.
Yeah.
It's too delicious. I'm just choosing more selective when I have my beer or my bourbon.
Mm-hmm. Good move.
A little more selective on that.
You got a dark horse this year?
Well, I gotta do my 10.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My bad.
My 10 is the infamous Lamar Bo Jackson, because somehow his first name is Lamar and he goes by Bo Jackson.
I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you?
Bo Jackson, Ohio State, averaged 6.1 yards per carry, over almost 1,100 yards as a true freshman. And he didn't really he didn't play against Texas. Burst out in the second game as a reserve against Grambling State. And then Ohio State realized, hey, this guy's pretty good. Maybe we should play him more. Finished with over almost 1,100 yards, had 200 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Became a true dual threat running back, able to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think the freshman year for him, there was definitely some times where he looked a little confused, but then there were also times where you saw Bo Jackson go, wow, like that's a different level than the other running backs Ohio State currently has. So I think Bo Jackson is going to be fantastic. I think year 2, because then you have a second year Julian Sayin starting, a second year quarter or running back, and obviously you've got the receiving core. I think you've got I don't want to say an adult in the room, but I know Arthur Smith kind of gets dumped on a little bit because of his NFL.
Arthur Smith there, yeah, but he loves to run.
But he loves to run the football. And Brian Hartline, I mean, everybody kind of knew his end goal was not to be at Ohio State, and it felt kind of like towards that year, like, hey, I'm trying to get out. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. They had their most success offensively with Chip Kelly running it, running behind the scenes, rather than Brian Hartline with Ryan Day kind of holding his hand. Yeah. Arthur Smith is someone where Ryan Day is not going to hold his hand because you're a former NFL head coach. You're not going to sit there and hold his hand on how to do it. So I think having Arthur Smith there is almost going to help the scheme, the run blocking schemes, the pace of play, just kind of everything with Bo Jackson this year. All right. Dark horse. I have a dark horse, but do you have a dark horse?
I have a dark horse. You have a dark horse?
Yeah, I have a dark horse.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I don't know if I consider this guy a dark horse anymore, because it feels like he's been playing for a while, but I got Nate Frazier out of Georgia.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
I don't really know if I consider him a dark horse, because Nate Frazier played a lot his freshman year, basically starting running back this past year. Going to play a ton this upcoming year. I don't think Nate Frazier gets enough love because of just how Georgia plays and how.
I don't think he gets enough hate. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're not a bit. I would say you're not you're not a Nate Frazier guy. I think Nate Frazier is going to have a better season. He had under 1,000 yards last year. I think Nate Frazier. I don't think he's going to be like an All-American or anything. But I think Nate Frazier is going to be the reason why Georgia does or does not have a ton of success this year, because Zachariah Branch is gone. He accounted for like half of their carries or half their receptions last year. I think it was actually he had like twice as many receptions as whoever was in second at Georgia. Georgia is going to have to lean heavily on somebody, and Nate Frazier's got a ton of experience now. I think Nate Frazier, like, it's your time. If you're going to break out, if you're going to be in that lineage of Georgia running backs, like, it's your time to break out. Who's your dark horse?
And I agree with you. Like, Nate Frazier is full of talent. So if he hadn't done it by now, he really, I mean, if he's not a big time running back this year, and I think that's why it's fair to call him a dark horse, because he really hasn't taken that next step to be a Georgia great running back, like you said. My dark horse would be Dylan Edwards out of Kansas. So I think a lot of people remember Dylan Edwards' time at Kansas State, transfers to Colorado, doesn't have a good showing.
I think it was Colorado first.
I might have it backwards. You're right. He goes Colorado, Kansas State to now Kansas. And what he's – are we sure? Yeah. We're sure. What he's able to do out of the backfield as a receiving threat is what I think is going to really, really help that Jayhawk offense. They're losing Jalen Daniels. They're losing Highshaw. I'm forgetting Highshaw's first name. And they have a running back by committee kind of setting up. They've got Yasin Willis out of Syracuse that's transferred there too. But he's more of a bruiser, more of a more traditional running back than Dylan Edwards is. But when you have a new quarterback coming into the system, there's two things that will be great for that quarterback's development. That's a tight end, and that's an effective running back in the passing game. And I think they might have both of those things next year. So I'm super excited to see what Dylan Edwards can do in a Lance Leipold offense.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards is another guy where, like, it's put up or shut up time. Like, I know that he's probably going to try to find a way to get a medical for last year because he only played in 4 games. And, I mean, the Iowa State game, he played 1 snap. He hurt himself on the punt return. It was the very first game, played very sparingly, but against UCF had 166 yards. So, Dylan Edwards, though, it's put up or shut up time for this guy. Like, I feel like we've all been hearing about Dylan Edwards for the last couple of years. You know, at Colorado, he's going to be a big guy. You know, at Kansas State in 2024, he had a pretty strong season, had 500 yards, had another 133 through the air. But, like, you know, there was still just, like, it felt like something was missing. But then there's always a game that brings you back. Always a game that brings you back.
Like UCF last year. UCF, he goes for 166 yards, 8.3 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. It's like,
the previous year in the bowl game against Rutgers, he had 196 yards rushing and 27 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Like, it just brings you back, being like, oh, we see what he can do. But, like, the consistency just is not quite there. But he's got that big play explosive ability.
He's like a toxic ex-girlfriend. He's good looking, but you know it's dangerous. But when it's good, it's great. And when it's bad, it's real bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he can be – I think he can find his water at Kansas. Under our king, Lance Leipold. Shout out Lance Leipold.
Under our king, Lance Leipold. Yeah, I think Dylan Edwards could have a great year, but I also think we could look back and Dylan Edwards finishes the year with like 630 yards rushing and like 6 touchdowns.
Jake, I wouldn't be surprised if we look back on the year and Dylan Edwards doesn't start. He's not the starter. He's the backup. So Yasin Williams, Willis, excuse me. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibilities. However, I think he has a real legitimate chance to be a big-time running back. I mean, you look at the running backs during Lance Leipold's tenure at Kansas, and you've had Devin Neal, who's I think he might be the top running back in Kansas history in terms of rushing yards. Then you have last year you had Daniel Highshaw, who was a really, really good running back, I think, utilized very well. So I think a guy like Dylan Edwards could really excel in this offense.
Yeah. Yeah, Kansas. We'll talk about Kansas much later day, but I don't know what to expect out of the Jayhawks this year.
Greatness. You expect greatness.
I sure hope so. We should get a first. If Kansas ever makes the playoff, we got to ask Coach for VIP ticket, or like we get to come cover you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, you agree to that, correct?
Yeah, Coach, if you are ever playing in the Rose Bowl, like we get to cover it, right?
Absolutely. We get to fly off the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's reasonable.
Well, actually, I thought he would fly as private.
Yeah, that's true. I
thought he would
reasonable.
just fly as private. You know, we would just you get a private airplane from South Carolina, pick me up in Columbus, and it takes us out to California.
That's more reasonable.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that.
Worst case scenario, you get a plane to Columbus. We take one plane from Columbus to take a private plane. Yeah.
Or the private plane comes to pick me up. So the private plane goes to Columbus, picks you up, comes to GSP, picks me up, and then off we go. I think that's extremely reasonable. Coach, you got us, right?
More than fair.
Let's clip this and send it to him.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, that does it for our running back episode. We will be off next week. Sorry, I am on vacation next week, so we're taking next week off. 2 weeks from now, though, we will do our wide receiver edition. Plenty of stuff here to keep us busy.
Jake, who's your wide receiver number one?
Let's see. Well, Carnell Tate's going pro.
Yeah.
So is Mekhi Lemon. I don't know, maybe Parker Livingston.
Yeah. Why is it the same person I thought of too?
I don't know.
That's pretty good. We're in lockstep.
Don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about who our wide receiver one is. Probably have a pretty lengthy discussion on who wide receiver one is in college football.
Yeah, should be.
If you're not doing so already, make sure to go subscribe to the podcast. If you do it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get any of your podcasts and content. If you like us, give us a 5-star rating. If you don't, give us 4, 3, 2, whatever you think we deserve. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get any social media content. Make sure to go follow Will at Walk on Moose. With that being said, we will see everybody again in 2 weeks.